What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Nerdy Mark Wrestling Show. I am, of course, the Nerdy Mark, and today we're going to talk about a couple of things. Today's schedule is we're going to talk about AEW's Winter is Coming. We're going to talk about the NXT, the Go Home episode before NXT War Games, and of course, who should and will win at NXT War Games happening tomorrow on the WWE Network. I'm very excited for this whole card. It seems like I only jump on YouTube here when there's like a pay-per-view or a big show happening. I'm really sorry about that. I think the rest of this year, I'm just going to try to upload whenever I can. I'm trying to get some things in place. I'm working on an anime review. Actually, I'm going to review like the entire series, but throughout different videos. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet because I want you guys to obviously watch it when it comes out. I've already kind of made a few preliminary notes for it, so it's underway. So please be patient. I might either drop it before the end of this month or beginning of January, and it might be my first video besides my New Year New Stream live stream, right? So with that being said, let's get into today's show. Though I want to make this short and sweet as best as I can. But first, unfortunately, some sad news. Unfortunately, WWE Hall of Famer Pat Patterson passed away at the age of 79, and his cause of death has been revealed. And he actually was passed away. Oh, come on. He actually passed away because of cancer, and it was actually bladder cancer, and he had apparently contracted it several years ago, and he was in pretty bad shape. So the cancer slowly killed him, which sucks, and definitely, again, more of a reason to say F cancer. Like, damn, man, that's terrible. But he died at the age of 79. He, of course, was actually the first openly gay pro wrestler, which is crazy for those times. To even be a lot more open about it, right? It's cool that a lot more wrestlers are coming out as part of the LGBTQ community, but back then it was a bit of a taboo. So that was cool, man. Like, hey, he had some balls. I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, I remember the first time I ever learned about Pat Patterson was through WWF No Mercy, and that is the extent of my knowledge of Pat Patterson. So I'm sorry, I'm gonna adjust this. But yeah, that's pretty much it. But as you can see, he was a world heavyweight champion in NWA, WWE. I know he did a thing with Gerald Briscoe, so that was cool. But yeah, I mean, it's just it is a tragedy, and one of the pioneers of pro wrestling. But you will be missed. But your legacy is not forgotten. So Pat Patterson, thank you for your contributions to pro wrestling. Rest in peace, and that's pretty much it. So let's move on. Let's talk about the most buzzing show this week. AEW Winter is Coming, and for good reason. So much happened on Wednesday in AEW. And the show, and I mean, the matches were also pretty good, but it's just everything surrounding AEW, this particular show. That's what did it. And we'll talk about it. I'm going to quickly go through all the matches and talk about some happenings. So we started AEW. We started Winter's Coming with the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royal. Now, I'm not gonna lie. You guys know, longtime viewers of mine know about me and Battle Royal matches. I am not a fan. I just don't like them. But this one was not bad. Wasn't amazing. It's still, like, at the end of the day, it was still a freaking Battle Royal with a bunch of people just crowding the ring, especially during these times. Perfect time to do it, right? Anyway, all joking aside, this was still fun because, especially with storylines advancing, The Matt Hardy storyline is continuing to advance, where he's trying to continue to take Private Party under his wing. Um, Unfortunately, the story with Miro and Kip Sabian and what's his face, uh, Miro and Kip Sabian versus Best Friends and Orange Cassidy. That's advancing for some reason. Um, the Inner Circle Civil War storyline, I guess, is also advancing, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But the final people in the match, we did have a cool moment between Miro and Wardlow. That was cool. We had another moment where Wardlow almost eliminated MJF, so that was there. Who, by the way, does hold the Dynamite ring for now. Sammy Guevara was in the match. Him and Wardlow were basically directing traffic away from MJF throughout the match, but eventually, Sammy Guevara had a great showing against Jungle Boy. I really want to see those two in a match at some point. Sammy and Wardlow do get eliminated by Orange Cassidy, and Orange Cassidy wins the match. So it's going to be Orange Cassidy versus MJF for the Dynamite Diamond ring next week. I actually kind of want Cassidy to win that match because I really want Cassidy to wear the ring on his thumb, and so every time he does this, you see the ring. I just think that would be cool. So it was still fine. It was fine. It wasn't like anything to write home about, but I'm just glad it advanced some storylines. So that's a good thing. But let's move on. Let's move on to Frankie Kazarian versus Chris Jericho. Decent match. I mean, Chris Jericho, we all know about him. Frankie Kazarian also know about him. Frankie Kazarian has a bit of a more brutal side to him, a little bit. But nothing much, as far as the wrestling itself, wasn't anything to write home about. It was, like I said, it was fine. These two put on a decent showing. But the big story was it within the Inner Circle. So MJF came out with a towel, when Kazarian did have Jericho in Jericho's own hold, which was, of course, the Walls of Jericho. And basically MJF came out to throw the towel, much like with Cody versus Jericho. And Sammy Guevara came out and stopped him. And obviously, Jericho broke out of the hold, and it looked like Sammy was about to throw in the towel. So, the whole manipulation. But, of course, Jericho hits the Judas effect onto Frankie Kazarian, wins the match, and then there's some tensions brewing. Chris Jericho finally makes an ultimatum. He says, next week, we're going to decide whether we're going to be the Inner Circle as a team or the Inner Circle is disbanded forever. Personally, I would actually like to see an Inner Circle Civil War. I would like to see this kind of go down a path where it's like Sammy Guevara, Ortiz, and Jake Hager versus Santana, MJF, and Wardlow. Yes, I know Santana and Ortiz are a tag team, but you know what? They have to be in there. Or just do Wardlow and MJF versus Jake Hager and Sammy, if you want to do that. But having some sort of like a Civil War kind of thing, and Chris Jericho basically saying whichever team wins is the real Inner Circle. That's kind of what it needs to be. If you don't want to split up Santana and Ortiz, don't have them be in the match. Let them both kind of do what they have to do. Let them both kind of be like, okay, you don't want to fight. We're ready to work together. Jericho says, okay, fine, you two are in there. But tag team match to decide whether Sammy and Jake Hager stick around or Wardlow and MJF stick around. That will be there, and he'll be like, okay, now we are the definitive Inner Circle. So that would be something that I'd like to see down the line. Although I think Santana and Ortiz being in that mix would make it a little bit more interesting. But who knows? So I think down the line I would like to see like an Inner Circle Civil War going on. I mean, it's already kind of brewing, but I want to see that kind of a match happening at some point. So, we'll see what happens. I mean, this is an interesting storyline going. I guess, or maybe Sammy will say it's either me or MJF, and perhaps they will throw out Sammy Guevara, and he will have a face run. Maybe he'll go under Matt Hardy's tutelage with Private Party, and they'll become like a trio of some sort. Who knows? That would be cool. I think Sammy would fit in with Private Party. So I could see that as well. So there are definitely, this is just speculation. There are just different ways where this could go. If you have any ideas, leave it in the comments. But we're going to move on to Britt Baker versus Layla Hirsch. Decent match. Nothing that, not decent match here. It was good. It was a good match. I'm not going to say this is the best women's match that AEW put out because it's not. That honor still goes to, I believe, Shida versus Nyla Rose. I think. I'm not sure. I think it's probably that one. The first match, their no DQ match. Anyway, that's my opinion, by the way. If you want to refute it, go ahead, but please be nice and let's have a civil discussion about it. Anyways, so Britt Baker versus Layla Hirsch. Layla Hirsch definitely got to show off her prowess with combat and with mixed martial arts and everything. Just good to see Britt Baker back. Whenever Britt Baker's in the ring, it was just always good to see her there. I like how she is. Her assistant is referred to as Rebel, not Reba. That was pretty funny, but of course, for some reason, Baker is going to continue to call her Reba. It is what it is. So, fine match. Britt Baker wins with a lockjaw, and then she's attacked by Thunder Rosa. So, it's more of a confirmation that Thunder Rosa is sticking around in AEW, and it looks like the alliance between AEW and NWA is continuing to grow stronger. But that's, of course, not the only company that seems to be in bed with AEW. We'll talk about that a little later. But this was good. I'm really looking forward to this feud between Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. So let's get to Cody Rhodes and Darby Allin, the TNT champion, versus Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. Of course, this all started when Luke Hobbs did turn heel and hit Cody with the FTW championship. Oh my god! One thing about streaming is everything is on the opposite side, so it's weird. Anyway, so I'm trying to fix my hair, but I'm ending up messing it up even more. So it's okay, I gotta do it on this side. Yeah. Anyway, so sorry about that, but jeez, what the hell? Come on, man. Sorry about that. All right, well, okay, stop it, Sid. Anyway, so this was a very good match. I think that obviously the match itself was overshadowed by what happened after the match. We'll talk about it, but it was just very, very good stuff. I mean, it looked like the faces were outmatched because of Powerhouse Hobbs, who had a fantastic showing in this match. I think he is a future championship material for sure, and not just the FTW champion. I would not mind if one day he becomes the TNT champion. That would be really cool. Should he take it off of Darby? No, but down the line. By the way, if anyone should take it off of Darby, it should be Scorpio Sky. Just saying. Anyways, overall great match. We ended with an amazing sequence where Cody hit a crossroads and tagged in Darby Allin. They hit a coffin drop onto Ricky Starks, I believe, and finally win the match. Afterwards, we had Team Taz and Brian Cage coming in and directing traffic towards Darby and Cody, attacking them. We had members of the Nightmare family, namely Dustin, coming out to try to help out, but that's to no avail. And then, all of a sudden, the lights go out, and we see images of snow and birds and stuff like that and trees, and then we see the name, and that name is Sting. The Icon is in AEW. This is the first time in 19 years he has been on TNT. He makes his debut in AEW. He comes out, pulls out the bat. Team Taz has hauled ass by this time. He stares down everybody in the ring. Arn Anderson, he stares him down because they have history. Looks at Cody and stares the longest at Darby Allin. I think we're going to have a potential potential thing going on between Darby Allin and Sting, and I am all for it. Um, Sting is one of the most iconic wrestlers in all of pro wrestling, and I think it makes perfect sense for him to be in AEW. Obviously, he didn't get the send off that he wanted in WWE, so obviously we're going to have him in AEW. I don't think he's going to wrestle. Actually that's not true because there are apparently reports that he might be wrestling. I hope it's in like more of a tag team capacity because I really don't want Sting to kill himself. you know, the man is in his 60s. Okay, I know he's in like really good shape, but he's old, right? Now here's the thing: a lot of people compared Goldberg coming to WWE and Sting coming to WWE. Two completely different things. Okay, Goldberg, when he arrived to WWE, it was to first sell the video game and Survivor Series. To the video game, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, and WrestleMania. Okay. Now here's the thing. I've said this before. I do like Goldberg. I personally was a fan of Goldberg a lot. I thought he was a badass. He's one of the reasons why I wanted to get big shoulders. And I wanted to exercise as well. He's one of the reasons. I honestly sometimes I've wanted to spear people that I don't like because that's how you deal with assholes in real life, right? Just spear the shit out of them. Anyway, but no, I never got to, unfortunately. Lucky. Y'all are lucky. You know who you are. Anyways, I had the lid off. But you see, I can also admit that Goldberg came, squashed Kevin Owens. Well, squashed Brock Lesnar, which is fine. He can afford to get squashed. Squashed Kevin Owens, squashed Dolph Ziggler, and squashed The Fiend. That was the one thing that I can't forgive. And that's kind of stupid, right? So basically, Goldberg did not add any value to any of the younger superstars. He didn't go and share his wisdom. He didn't really do anything to progress anybody's career. Whereas the thing is with AEW and Legends, they're there to progress young talents' careers, like Jake the Snake Roberts with Lance Archer, Arn Anderson with Cody, he's not a spring chicken, but he's much younger and still has a lot of years left in him. Although he said he's only going to do this for 5 more years, but still, that's still plenty. With obviously Vicky Guerrero with Nyla Rose. Even though they threatened a tease to split, but it looks like they're together even more than ever. Tully Blanchard with FTR and Shawn Spears. Those are just a few. Well, those are all the examples actually. But as you can see, legends are brought into AEW. Oh, Taz with Team Taz. There you go. Legends are brought into AEW to elevate younger talent, current talent. Let's not say younger, current talent. They're not actually in there to win belts. They're not trying to be the king. They're basically the king makers. And I think that's what Sting is going to be for Darby Allin. He's going to be a kingmaker more than anything. I think Darby Allin at some point will go for the AEW title, and I think Sting is going to be backing him up for it. I don't think he needs to actually exactly wrestle per se. Sting does not need to wrestle anymore. He can come out and intimidate people with the bat. Get physical just with the bat if absolutely needed. Just use the bat and, get a couple of shots in to the enemy. Maybe a Scorpion death drop here and there, a Scorpion death lock. But that's really it. I don't need to see Sting. Like I said, I don't need to see Sting exerting himself because of, the injury he suffered thanks to Seth Rollins. Well, whatever. It is what it is. So I, for one, am very excited to see what Sting does in AEW. I think it's going to be a lot more fruitful than what Goldberg ever did in WWE. See, that's the thing. WWE brings in legends to make sales. AEW brings in legends to elevate their talent. That is the pattern I've seen. Now, I can actually go more in depth about this with a nerd discussion if that's something that you would like. I was actually thinking about doing that. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. I don't know. Anyways, but then again, it's not really needing a nerd discussion. Like, I just put out the points right there, I feel. And yeah, so, I mean, that's the thing. Legends are in there to add value to the superstars that are actually performing. Not so much for their own glory. Because, see, their time under the sun, they understand their time under the sun is over. Now they want to contribute more to the community, and this is how they're doing it. Even Chris Jericho, think about it. Yeah, he still wrestles, but is he wrestling as much as an MJF or a Sam? Well, yeah, it kind of is. But, even then, like, even if he does that, I mean, he's usually wrestling, like, gimmick matches. Even if he wrestles younger talent, he's usually putting them over. So whether it's in defeat or in victory, his whole thing is he wants to put over the other guy. So there's that. Since Jericho can still perform, that's how he's contributing. See what I'm saying? You see what's happening here? Like, because if Chris Jericho went back to WWE, they would automatically just book him to take the Universal title off of Roman Reigns, or book him to get the WWE title off of Drew McIntyre just to drive up sales. Although Jericho versus McIntyre would be a pretty good match, and Jericho versus Roman Reigns, that would be a good match too. Although we've seen that several times now. Anyway, but yeah, like I think that Sting coming into AEW, great move, great get by AEW, and I think WWE is definitely gonna have to do something. They're gonna have to do something now at this point. So your move, Vince. Okay. Anyways, but yeah, again, great to see Sting back. Now let's talk about the main event. AEW World Champion title match, Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega in what was a fantastic match. This had pretty much everything. It had a lot of strikes, a lot of kicks, a lot of big moves. It had a huge... well, of course, Jon Moxley at one point did take Kenny Omega to Suplex City, as did Kenny Omega take Jon Moxley to Suplex City. So, I mean, it was fantastic. So, there was even a point where Moxley brought out two chairs. Both men sat in it and just slapped the shit out of each other. I did not know we were watching NJPW. Anyway, All Elite New Japan Pro Wrestling. I forgot that we were watching that. Anyway, no, I'm kidding. But, yeah, so this was a very, very good match. Don Callis was involved. There was a point where Kenny was feigning an injury. Don Callis came to check on Kenny, distracted the ref for Kenny to grab a microphone and deck Jon Moxley, and then hit the One Wing Angel. 1, 2, 3. We have a new AEW World Champion in the form of Kenny Omega. And then there was seldom time to celebrate because Don Callis, raised his hand and just took off with Kenny. They got into a big SUV. Alex Marvez caught up with Don Callis, and he said, "What's going on?" And he says, "You'll find out Tuesday." Don Callis does. And Marvez is like, "But AEW's on Wednesday." He says, "This Tuesday on Impact Wrestling, Kenny Omega will be there with me, and we're going to make a statement." So, the AEW World Champion is making an appearance, his first appearance, on Impact Wrestling. This is all but confirmed. This all but confirms that AEW and Impact are in a working partnership. And with NWA in tow, AEW is becoming more and more of a formidable force every single day. So again, WWE, they need to really do something. They need to do something, Obviously, the whole thing with New Japan, it's still kind of up in the air as far as I'm concerned. But this way, at least, if this is the merger between Impact and AEW, this is awesome. Like I said, I don't watch a lot of Impact Wrestling. I've been given shit for it in the past by one Tim Farley and John Kearns, and but now I just might check it out if I'm gonna see AEW stars on Impact. Perhaps we'll see. I think that we can see a lot of matches. I mean, it's funny because we have Kenny Omega as the AEW champion, Bucks as the AEW tag champs, and the Good Brothers as the Impact Tag Team title champions. If they form the OG Elite again, pretty much you'll have every single member holding a piece of gold. That could be interesting. I could see that happening at some point. I mean, already some matches have been talked about, like Rosemary versus Abaddon. Well, for me, Rosemary versus Thunder Rosa maybe, and Abaddon versus Su Yung, because that would be creepier. I mean, Sami Callihan and Jon Moxley with Ken Shamrock can be an alliance, or they can have a match, whatever. My God, just a lot of cool things can be there. I can totally see like something like Luke Hobbs or Powerhouse Hobbs versus Moose, or Moose joining Team Taz. That could be interesting. I literally just not thought about that. Moose joining Team Taz. You never know. And it's kind of interesting because this is just around the time when the Rascals left Impact Wrestling, and they ended up in the Performance Center. Although Triple H on a phone call mentioned that he would be more than happy to work with other promotions. Unfortunately, his father-in-law doesn't seem to feel the same. So can we please have Vince retire and Triple H be the head of WWE? Please and thank you. It's not going to happen, but whatever. So there's just a lot of cool things in the horizon, it seems. So I'm really, really excited for this potential partnership between Impact and AEW. Well, not potential. It's, like I said, it is all but confirmed that Impact Wrestling and AEW are in a partnership. And I think it is just a matter, it's not so much a matter of if, but a matter of when we're going to see Impact Wrestling stars show up on AEW. Is there going to be like an invasion storyline that'll actually be good? Is there going to be, multi-man matches pitting AEW against Impact? Is there going to be alliances formed between the two promotions? The possibilities are endless at this point. So I'm very, very excited, and I can't wait to see what's in store. I'm really looking forward to Wednesday on Impact, on Dynamite, and even Tuesday on Impact. I'll at least watch the promo. I'll at least watch the bit with Kenny Omega. I'll definitely watch that because he is my favorite wrestler right now. So there's that. So yeah, let's see what happens. But that's pretty much it. And let's move on to NXT, which also was a very solid show. Unfortunately, it's been overshadowed by everything going on in AEW, because this week, apparently, AEW was very close to the 1 million mark on viewership. Excuse me. Meanwhile, NXT was barely over 600,000 viewers, which is, damn, holy shit, And NXT was like, it couldn't even hit 700,000 views. That's what I meant to say. I should have said it like that. Anyways, but hey, this is all live recording, so there's that. But NXT had some solid matches and a lot of promos that were very, very good too. Actually, no, a lot of solid matches and all the promos were fantastic. I'll talk about it in a second. But we did have a tag team match to open up NXT between the NXT North American champion Leon Ruff and Damian Priest, taking on the Cruiserweight champion Santos Escobar and Raul Mendoza. This was a pretty good match. I really liked it. We, of course, had Ghostface making an appearance and distracting Damian Priest at one point. However, they quickly get the win. We did have a similar spot to Cody and to the match between Cody and Darby and Team Taz, where the finale was obviously Damian Priest hitting the Reckoning, and then Leon Ruff tagging himself in and hitting a frog splash and winning the match for their team. Johnny Gargano was on commentary throughout this time, and that man is underrated on commentary. Like, holy shit! Like, especially after he's turned heel, his commentary skills just got better. It was really, really good. So, of course, we had Wade Barrett, kissing ass to Johnny Gargano. It's fine. I mean, he's technically the heel announcer. So, really good match here. Really appreciate it. Really loved it. We did have Cameron Grimes squashing Austin Gray ahead of his strap match with Dexter Lumis at War Games. Lumis does scare him away, and that's the end of that. We then had Jake Atlas taking on Tony Nese in what I would say is the sleeper hit of the night. Very, very good stuff here. Tony Nese, we haven't seen him in a while. Well, I mean, I know he's doing stuff on 205 Live, but I was like, oh, that's still a show at this point. But it's good to see him on NXT. Just honestly, just move 205 Live over to NXT, man. Well, I guess that's what they kind of did, but they basically made 205 Live like the dark matches. So that kind of sucks. Anyway, whatever. I don't want to get into that. So, like, honestly, I wouldn't mind if they just dedicated 1 hour for NXT and 1 hour for 205 Live, like what they like the good old days. Just have it be. You can have it be the same show. Just give me NXT and then be like, all right, now we're gonna switch over to the cruiserweight division. Just do that. It just makes more sense in my opinion. Anyways, but fantastic match here between Atlas and Tony Nese, with Atlas securing a victory and dedicating his win to Pat Patterson. Makes sense. And, he then calls out Santos Escobar, so it looks like we'll be seeing Escobar versus Atlas for the Cruiserweight title sometime in the near future, and I'm actually really looking forward to that match because I like both competitors. We had the Imperium versus Grizzled Young Veterans ending in a no contest because they were scheduled to take on Everrise, but Imperium came in and interrupted them and said, "No, we're gonna be, in this match instead of Everrise." But Everrise came in and just attacked both teams and made their way out into the exit. Basically said this is the start of Everrise. We also had a couple of segments before I forget. My lovely wife Zia Lee and Boa are having a penance or actually going through a penance for falling short with that bearded old man, and there's like a woman in a shrouded mask and she's bowing and they're all bowing down to her. I'm wondering where this is gonna go because this is all weird. But then again, you know what? I applaud NXT for trying something a little different. So let's see where this goes. I'm not gonna critique it until I actually don't like it, right? But anyway, then we also had some promos. We had a promo. This is before we get to the main event. We had promos from the Undisputed Era from a restaurant, which is cool. We had Pat McAfee's group, The Brand, I guess it's for The Brand. Is that what it's called? No. They were they cut a really good promo. Like, Pat McAfee, very good promo skills. Like, I have to say. Pete Dunne just comes in and says the Undisputed Era are going to fall. That's it. And Pete Dunne never talks. But yeah, this was really cool. Good to see Pat McAfee getting some mic time. Then we had the main event, Shotzi Blackheart versus Raquel Gonzalez for the advantage for the team in War Games. And if last week the match between Pete Dunne and Kyle O'Reilly was a skillful display of wrestling mastery between these two men, of course it had ladders and it was great. But this one was just a brutal beatdown by both women, and it was just really good. Indy Hartwell at one point brought a ladder for the heel team to come out and help Raquel Gonzalez, and someone else brought out a ladder. for the face team, which was at this point only Rhea Ripley and Ember Moon. And then finally we had Io Shirai. We had well, we'll talk about that. I guess but Indy Hartwell was climbing up the ladder to help get the briefcase, but Io Shirai came in and choked out Indy Hartwell, which was awesome. And then Shotzi Blackheart climbs the ladder and gets the briefcase and wins the match for the face team. And Io Shirai, the NXT Women's Champion, is the fourth member of the face team, which is awesome. So it looks like no titles are going to be defended in War Games this time. But it's just cool. It's perfectly fine, and I kind of understand it. So this was fantastic stuff. I really liked it overall. Very solid show from NXT, but unfortunately overshadowed by everything that happened in AEW. So there's that. If this was any other week, I think NXT would have gotten that much more closer to beating AEW. But with that being said, this Sunday we do have War Games. That's my best way of doing it. I can't do it like William Regal. Streaming live on the WWE Network this Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, which is technically 6 p.m. Central. Oh, I don't know why they don't say that, but it is what it is. Anyway, so I am actually excited for War Games. You guys know how I feel about War Games. I really like this pay-per-view a lot. This is probably my favorite takeover every year is War Games, and I'm glad it's like the last takeover of the year. So this is really cool. But anyway, let's talk about who should win and who will win each match. These are my predictions, so let's go. Let's begin with Tommaso Ciampa versus Timothy Thatcher. This came about when Tommaso Ciampa stared a hole into Timothy Thatcher and basically continues to piss him off. And now we're gonna get a match between these two. I actually think this is gonna be really good. It's weird because Tommaso Ciampa, when he returned, he had like this more vicious personality, and I thought, oh shit, he's turned heel. But no, he just went back to being a babyface. So okay, fine. But I'm actually okay with Tommaso Ciampa kind of lingering in the mid card just for a little bit until he's comes back for Goldie again. So, but NXT, but this is gonna be a fantastic match. I think this is gonna be a masterclass in pro wrestling. There's gonna be a lot of catch wrestling, a lot of just a lot of technicality here. Some high flying stuff will be there because Ciampa is pretty good when he's in the air. So I'm gonna be very excited about this match. Actually, I think I'm gonna say it right now. This is gonna be the sleeper hit of War Games. But but as far as who should and will win, I think that the winner should be Tommaso Ciampa. However, I do feel like it's going to go to Timothy Thatcher. I could be wrong, but we'll see. Next up, let's talk about the men's War Games match. Yes, I know I'm doing this pretty early, but here's the thing. I feel like the main event is going to be the women's War Games match just because of everything that's been going on. And honestly, like with the whole thing of who's going to be on both teams, that whole storyline building up. And also, if you look at the logo, it's the picture of a tank. This is the first time they've actually included a tank in the War Games logo. And who rides a tank into the ring? Shotzi Blackheart. So, I mean, I know it's kind of stupid, but sometimes WWE just puts out blatant hints like that in their logos. So, well, both companies, both AEW does that too sometimes. But, I mean, this right here, I mean, I just think, I kind of see this as a hint as to what's the main event. And I think the main event is going to be the women's War Games match. Now, Undisputed Era versus For the Brand, which is Pat McAfee, Pete Dunne, and Orny Lorcan and Danny Burch, the NXT Tag Team Champions. Something I'd like to see happen. Just because the Era aren't like full-fledged baby faces, in my opinion, I still think they're kind of tweeners. I think they should take out Pat McAfee, and we still wonder who the fourth man is going to be. So, obviously, the Pat McAfee's team has the advantage at this point, the advantage of the first person who gets to go in, that whole advantage. But now they're handicapped by because they're one man short. But of course, because if you remember, the reason why they got that advantage is because some hooded figure, a lot of hooded figures coming out these days. Like, what the hell? This is weird. Some hooded figures came out and pushed Kyle O'Reilly off the ladder, allowing Pete Dunne to get the win. So, Pat McAfee is out, and of course, when it's time for the final person for Pat McAfee's team to come in, Pat McAfee comes out and says, "I'm injured. I can't, wrestle this match, but I found a replacement." And out comes Ridge Holland. Ridge Holland was originally supposed to be there, but of course, he got injured. So I don't know if he's medically cleared, great, or perhaps they're going to call in Karrion Kross. That could work too. And then, if that happens, Pat McAfee's team should win, but I feel like the win is going to the Undisputed Era. I don't feel like none of that's going to happen, and I feel like Undisputed Era is going to win. But again, I would like for Pat McAfee to be substituted with someone like Ridge Holland, and then you can give this team the win. Because Undisputed Era at this point are a pretty established team. They can afford to eat a loss, but then again, they only won one War Games match. So again, I can totally understand if they give the team of the Undisputed Era the victory here, because even that out, balance it out, whatever. So we'll see. You never know. But that should still be a good match. Next up, Timothy Thatcher versus Dexter Lumis in a strap match. Did I say Timothy Thatcher? I'm so sorry. I meant Cameron Grimes versus Dexter Lumis in a strap match. I am so sorry. Please don't kill me, Cameron Grimes. Anyway, so this is a match that was interesting. I mean, this could also be a potential sleeper hit, but we'll see. Now, Timothy... Why do I keep calling him Timothy Thatcher? What the hell? Cameron Grimes has been... been haunted by Dexter Lumis for a while, and he actually was able to squirrel his way out of many situations, because of his craftiness. But now he's locked in the strap match with Lumis, and I think this will be his downfall. So I think Dexter Lumis should and will win this strap match. Pretty simple. Now we have the... Oh, God, this picture is so blurred. I'm sorry. Now we have the NXT North American title triple threat between champion Leon Ruff, Johnny Gargano, and, of course, Damian Priest. This could also be sleeper hit of the night, because Johnny Gargano usually has been, despite turning heel, he's still been Johnny Takeover. Like, Johnny Takeover has always come through with the amazing matches. Now, there is the whole thing with the three hooded figures, the three ghost faces, that Johnny Gargano has employed. I'm pretty sure they'll play a factor into this. I don't know who this team should actually be, or who they might be. Perhaps it is, perhaps it's those guys. It's some of the people from the Performance Center now. Like, perhaps it is the Rascals and someone else. Excuse me. But I'm not sure. But I would think that it would make sense for Johnny Gargano to take the match, just so with the help of the hooded figures. So I think Johnny Gargano should win. However, I think it's going to be Damian Priest, and you know what? I'm fine with either, because I actually like Damian Priest as champion. Not trying to take away anything from Leon Ruff. I like him too, but he's pretty much had his time in the sun now with this whole title run. He pretty much has wrestled with. He's pretty much battled it out with two of the best on NXT. I think he can go away for some time and come back, much more improved. So, and of course he's been able to prove that he's not a joke. So I think that Johnny Gargano should pin I think Johnny Gargano should pin Damian Priest for the title, for the match, to win the match, or vice versa. And then Leon Ruff can, of course, say, hey, I want a rematch for the title, and we can have an actual one-on-one between either him and Priest or him and Gargano. So that could be something. So that's pretty much what I think should and will happen. Let's move on to the women's War Games match. Now this is pretty interesting. So we have the team of Candice LeRae, Toni Storm, who turned heel recently, Dakota Kai, and of course Raquel Gonzalez versus the team of Shotzi Blackheart, Io Shirai, the NXT Women's Champion, Rhea Ripley, and of course Ember Moon. Now, unlike last year, I don't see a betrayal happening on the face team. I think that would be too much. I mean, I could totally understand if Rhea Ripley turns and attacks Io Shirai because she wants another shot at the title, and you can start that feud. However, I think it should happen after the match. If they're going to do that, I don't really want to see too many heel turns or face turns at this point. I mean, we've had enough for the past few weeks, so let's just kind of keep it straightforward. But I think it's going to be a great match. I think it's going to be fantastic. I think that Shotzi's team should and will win at War Games. So, with that pretty much concludes my show, the Nerdy Mark Wrestling Show. Thank you all for watching. What do you guys think? What did you guys think about AEW's show this week? What did you guys think about NXT? What are your predictions for War Games? Let me know all that stuff in the comment section below. And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on social media. Tell your friends about the Nerdy Mark. Hit that bell so you know whenever I upload a new video. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your patience, honestly, with me. But until next time, this is Sid signing off. You guys take care. Bye-bye. And enjoy NXT War Games tomorrow.